class is in memory of Jared Orchen. Today we're learning the last Haftorah of the year, the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah. It's the last of a series of 7 Haftorahs, really of 10 Haftorahs, 10 weeks, 10 Saturdays. It started with 3 weeks before Tisha B'Av. The 3 weeks, 3 Haftorahs were about the upcoming destruction of the temple, bad news, so to speak. And then there is 7 Haftorahs that start from the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av until Rosh Hashanah. They're talking about comforting the Jewish people. And the comforting is going from level to level. In the beginning, God is sending the prophet, and he tells them, go tell the Jewish people, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, go comfort the Jewish people. Then the Jewish people tell God back, then that they don't want God they don't want the prophet to comfort them. They say, Zion said, the beginning of the second Haftorah, Zion said, God had forsaken me. Then the prophet is, so to speak, going back to God, and he's saying the next Haftorah, Aniya so'ara lo nuchama. The poor woman, so to speak, is not comfort. She doesn't accept comforting. It's not good enough for her. Then God said in the next Haftorah, number 4, I will comfort you. I will not send prophet to comfort you. I myself will come to comfort you. Anochi, Anochi umenachemchem. What is God saying? He comes with the Haftorah number 6, he says, Kum yori, wake up, because your light of the Jewish people has come, and you'll be comforting. And he says, I will bring you back to your land and to your city. And the last one that we're going to learn this week, that we say the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, start with the word Sos Asis Ba'Hashem. The Jewish people say, now I'm happy. Because now I know when God himself is coming to comfort me, now I'm really excited. The Haftorah is on page 1480. But before we'll start to learn the Haftorah, I want to tell you a story that I said before, and I'm sure you will not be angry if I say it again. You know, stories, it's not so bad if you say it again. If you give a speech twice, that's dangerous. But a story, it's not so bad. Dvar Torah, even once, is too much. A story, you can repeat every week. The story is about a famous Hasidic rabbi, Reb Chaim of Sanz. Sanz is in Poland, next to the Carpathian Mountains. Where is it exactly? I don't know, but that's what's written in the Wikipedia. Reb Chaim of Sanz lived 200 years ago, I would say. Yeah, something like this. Maybe 100 years too. This is a Parshat. He was born. No, he passed away in 1876. Yes, not long ago. 150 years ago. He was a very famous Hasidic rabbi. He had thousands of Hasidim. He was married a few times. At this time, he got married by the age of 13. His wife died, and all. He had a lot of kids. He was very famous rabbi. He wrote a lot of books. He was answering questions. He had thousands of Hasidim. But he was known more than everything in the mitzvah of charity. That was his thing. And in this alone was not a regular charity. You know what considered the highest level, the most important mitzvah in charity in Judaism? What's the most important?
Giving someone a loan to open their
That's one
business.
thing.
That's one thing.
There is a charity that exists only by the Jewish people.
For the brides, providing
For the bride and groom.
Oh. Yeah, nice.
Marrying off bride and grooms is a mitzvah. You know, in the secular world, they tell you, they don't get married. Or go to the city. We don't need to pay for your wedding. In Judaism, you tell somebody you have to marry off a young couple. Everybody will. There is organizations and institutions and funds in every religious community in the world today. It's called Achnasat Kala, especially to help people to marry off the children. Only for this. considered the biggest mitzvah. Now, Reb Chaim Tzanzer was very big in this. That's his thing. People used to walk in, used to ask him, "Oh, when is the wedding of your daughter?" He says, "I don't know, because I don't know when I'm going to." "Oh, really? Why do you?" There's a story about once he was sitting with his son, who was a famous rabbi too, sitting by the table, talking Torah. A guy comes in, the Rebbe is asking him, "You're supposed to marry your daughter. When that you bought already for your son-in-law a shtraimu and a talis?" That was the custom, that the father-in-law gives the son-in-law a shtraimu, an expensive et, and a talis. And if not, there is no wedding. It's a part, there is much more, but that he says, "No, I didn't." And his son says, "Father, I saw him buying the shtraimu and the talis." The guy was embarrassed, he ran out. Father looks at him and says, "What have you done? Maybe he didn't pay for it yet. And even yes, maybe his wife wants me to, he should buy him a piece of jewelry, and he's embarrassed to come and tell me that he needs jewelry, that he says he needs a shtraimu and a talis. Run out and go and ask him for forgiveness." He runs after him and he's begging him. He says, "No, I'm not forgiving you. You embarrassed me in front of the Rebbe. I'm not forgiving you." Finally, he told him, "You know what? Come to my father for a din Torah. If you have a dispute, you go to the rabbi. And whatever my father will say will be." Okay, they walk in. Father, he says, "Father, I did this. Whatever you say will go." He looks at the Jew and tells them, "Don't forgive my son until he doesn't pay the whole wedding from the beginning to the end, everything. Only then you forgive him." That was the personality. Erev Sukkot used to tell people, "I'm embarrassed to walk into the sukkah. I never did a mitzvah. I'm embarrassed. How could I walk in?" Then he says, "I need money. He calls all these rich Hasidim. He needs money. Before the holiday started, gave out all the money. Nothing was left. One of his sons comes and tells him, "Rebbe, Father, I need to marry off my daughter." He says, "What should I do? I don't have money now." Fine. An hour later walks in another guy. He gives him money. He says, "Father, but I'm not Jewish. I don't deserve help. Only I don't have money." He says, "Listen, you're the son of the Tzanzer Rebbe. You go other places, people will help you. But this Rachmanas case is going to help. Nobody. Then I need to help him." That was the man. Then the story goes, I mentioned that once here, the story goes that when he married off his youngest daughter, he went to the chuppah. Took her to the chuppah. And while they're going to the chuppah, thousands of Hasidim came. He had like 15 children from. He was married 4 times, just for your information. He lived very long. At that time, women used to die by birth. It was a very common thing in Nebach. He married a woman, then she died, he married his sister, then things like this. But between all of I think he had children from 2 women. He had 8 sons and 7 daughters, something like this. When he married the youngest child, he was probably in his 70s. You can imagine what kind of a wedding it was taking place there. He goes to the chuppah. In the middle, he tells his rabbi, "I hear somebody crying." There's thousands of people hear somebody crying. But they knew that he's a spiritual man, he's a holy man. If he says, "I hear somebody crying," it means not he hears physically. Somebody in the city is suffering. So I can't go to the chuppah, somebody is crying. I can't. He stopped everything and going all over the shtetl to look for who is crying. They found that night another girl is getting married, poor girl, and she's crying because she doesn't have money. She goes to the chuppah with a torn dress. She doesn't have anything, and she sees what's going on the other side of town. Thousands of people are coming. It's a whole celebration. She has nothing. They come back. They tell the Rebbe the story. The Rebbe turned to his daughter and he told her like this. He told her, it's written on Rosh Hashanah, we say in the prayers, Levushoi tzedakah, that the dress, the clothing of God is charity. Then he says, he had to ask his daughter, which dress you want to go to the chuppah? With your dress or with God's dress? if she's doing tzedakah, she went to a room, she called the other bride, she gave her wedding gown, and she put her ear shmates, and she went to the chuppah. That means, and they said that was the most exciting wedding ever took place. This is the beginning of this Haftorah. This Haftorah starts with the word, I'll translate it in Hebrew, read it in Hebrew first. You know what? Read it in English, and then we'll talk about it. The first verse.
In 1480,
Yeah.
I will rejoice greatly in God's salvation. My soul will be glad with my God, for he has clothed me in garments of salvation and wrapped me in a robe of righteousness, like a bridegroom who wears majestic clothing, and a bride who adorns herself with her jewelry.
Okay. The Jewish people say, So sasis b'Hashem. I will be very rejoicing with God, because he dressed me with clothing of salvation, right? Garment of salvation, and wrapped me in a robe of righteousness. You know what righteousness is in Hebrew? Why do you say righteousness? Tzedakah. Meil tzedakah ya'atani. Meil tzedakah, he robed me with a dress, with a clothing, the robe of tzedakah. From there is taken this concept that we say on Rosh Hashanah, that God's clothing is a tzedakah. From here it's coming. And then he right away continues, like a groom, right? Like a bridegroom who wears majestic clothing, and a bride that was adorned with her jewelry. And from here we're coming to this concept that what is the clothing to go to the chuppah? Clothing of tzedakah. That's why there is the custom that the day you get married, you give tzedakah and so on. But what is going on here? This is the seventh of the Haftorahs. Climbing in the making, it's the highest level of comforting. What's the highest level? We mentioned that also before, but it's important to mention again. Sometimes people ask me, what do you teach every week? I tell them every week I teach the same thing. For 25 years. It's just a different angle, but it's the same thing. What do we do? What do we eat every day? The same thing. What do we pray every day? The same thing. What do we do every day? The same thing. There is a few types of relationship that the relationship between God and the Jewish people has different comparison, different examples. Number one, God himself, in the beginning of book of Exodus, when he tells Moses to go to Pharaoh, he told them, go to Pharaoh and tell him, B'ni B'chori Israel, my firstborn son Israel is by you in Egypt. Let him go. If you don't let my son go, I will kill your firstborn son. That's why God decided to kill the firstborn. Why not the youngest? Because he said, B'ni, my firstborn with your firstborn. Firstborn son. That's the first expression. The first time in the Bible, God refers to the Jewish people as his children, as a father and children. Avinu. Later in the Torah, in Parshat Be'ar, when he speaks about servants and slaves, the Torah says you cannot have a slave, a Jewish slave, for more than 7 years. Right? Why? Avodayim, they are my servant. Who are you to become a master of my servant? And here we are called also servant. God is the master, and we are the servant. King and subject is the same idea. That's what we say in Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu. Many years passed. Came Jeremiah, is the first one. Who is the first?
Hosea.
Hosea. Not Isaiah, Hosea. The same time?
Roughly, he's a little ahead.
Basically, all the prophets gathered in the same, it dawned on them at the same time. The comparison, God and the Jewish people, husband and wife. Then we have father and child. We have a king and subjects. We have husband and wife. Why we need all these three? Then Chassidus explains something very interesting. There is a relationship which is based on love. There is a relationship which is based on fear. awe, respect, and there is a relationship was based on mercy, rachamim. Love is husband and wife. It's a loving relationship. Fear is a king subject. Why I listen to God? Because He told me. We need love and we need fear. To doing the positive commandment, I need love. To doing the negative, to not what not to do, I need fear. Because if not, I'll do whatever. I love him anyway. It's okay. He will forgive me. It does not go like this. Why we need love and fear? Because love alone. I bring this example every time, and I think it's a good example. Lighting candles on Friday night in the winter. It's late. I love God. I want to light the candles, but God says you shouldn't do it after sunset. But I still love Him. If you don't have fear, you can disobey the law. I love my wife. Don't love me. Respect me. I ask you to do something. In a relationship with your husband and wife, it's not enough love, right? You need fear. Why I need fear? Because love alone doesn't hold it. But then there is a parent and child. In a parent and child, there is love and fear. There is both of them. It's a different love and a different fear. It's not love that's based on an attraction. It's ingrained in your genes. You don't need your child to love him. Even if your child is in Australia for the next 50 years, you still love him. If your wife is in Australia for the next 50 years, I'm not sure it's going to work. Because it's then these are the three types of relationship. Within the husband and wife relationship, the Haftorah of last week and before that is speaking about the husband, it was a marriage, they were separated, now they're coming back. Now what's the problem when you come back? Even when it's all nice and fine, there is a history. There is scars. It's not the same. There's a famous, second marriage, you're not as, you don't hold yourself so important as the first marriage. You take whoever wants to take you. First marriage, you think you're the biggest chacham in town. The second marriage, you're already a little more. Then a marriage, a relationship between God and the Jewish people that's based on coming back, there's a little bad taste in the mouth of everybody. The Jews feel, we were you for 2,000 years. And Hashem says, we were you for 2,000 years. Here, God says, when Moshiach will come, it's not going to be felt like coming back, like a second marriage. Like we will not have the history of the exile. It will be such excitement, like a bride and groom. Like no history, clean. Like a bride and groom are getting married. Two young people who are 22 years old, 25 years old. They don't have any baggage, anything. They're excited about each other. That's how the marriage is going to be. And that's the whole of Torah is going there. Kimsos chatan al kala. As much as a groom is excited about his bride, so too, God the groom will be excited about his bride. Not like somebody who you're coming back and you bring him back. Yeah, we're excited, but it's not excitement like it's the first time you never met this girl. This will be like never before. Like we never had. There is no bad history in the past, and that's all of Torah is speaking about.
Is it related to tshuva at all? It sounds like this what you just said.
It's more than tshuva. Soon we'll see. It's tshuva is if you have the past. Here it's like the old past is clear. There is no past.
Clean slate, I guess.
Clean slate. It's like you do delete, and the whole thing.
Is that the source of why on a wedding day it's like at your own personal Yom Kippur? Is that sort of the source of it?
The source of your wedding, the wedding day is like Yom Kippur. It's because it's written about that God is forgiven all the sins for the bride and groom. He's starting a new life, yeah. Because until now it wasn't real. I mean, there is one commentary to say why God forgives you for all your sins, because you're getting yourself in such trouble. Because God is forgiving you. Because your wife will never forgive you. But at least God says, oh, you're such. There is a story I know about a guy in Aachen. My brother-in-law told me. Once he was stopped by a cop. He was driving fast. He opened the cop is putting his and he started talking to him. The wife was sitting next to him. She says, "Give him a ticket. I always tell him to stop, not to noise office. Give him a ticket, please." He tells the guy, get out. I want to talk to him. He tells him, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. Forget it. I'm not giving you a ticket." You have your own ticket, he told him.
That's a great story.
My brother-in-law told me he told the story at the funeral of the wife, and the husband was still alive. He says, "You don't need a ticket." He told him, "Oh, why?" Then that could be one reason why God forgives the the couple when they're getting married. But more than that, and because he really doesn't become a human being until he's married. You know, there is a famous joke in America that until you don't that by the Jewish people, you considered until you graduate college, you're considered a fetus. You're not even a human being. You're a nobody. The real truth is that until you get married, you're not considered anything. You're half a person. That's what the Talmud puts it. Homeless. You're like a table with 2 feet. You cannot do with it anything. It's not like you can say a table. Garnished. Without, if you're not married, you don't exist, basically. You're not counted. And then this is the ultimate marriage. When the Jewish people will marry God, like the first wedding, not like a second wedding, not like somebody got divorced and brings his wife back, or separated and coming back together, like a whole new beginning. Okay, now that we know that this is the joy, that's what it says, "I will rejoice greatly." The language is so sasis, it's like a repeating of the same word. Just like it's throughout the 7 Haftorahs. Nachamu, nachamu ami, twice. Anochi, anochi, umenachemchem. I am. The same thing is so sasis. I will, or kumi ori kiva orech. Every beginning, in this Haftorah, there is a lot of this repeating of the same word to express the strengthness. When the Torah repeats some word twice, it shows all the important, or it's going to come fast, or how powerful it is. It's like in the Torah there is no
Exclamation point?
Exclamation point, or you write and you make a line underneath. Underlining something to make a strong point. It's like underlining, you say the same word twice. That's what he says here. Sas asis ba'Hashem, I will be rejoicing in God. My soul will be glad. It's another expression. I will feel like a chosen. He will be, basically, God will be the groom, and the bride will be the Jewish people. Number 11. Go ahead.
For just like the earth brings forth its growth, and a garden makes its seeds grow, so too will God Almighty cause the righteousness and praise of Israel to sprout before all the nations.
What means will be sprout? Just like growing is such a normal thing, it's a part of nature, so too the Jewish people, the idea that the Jewish people be respected all over the world, and the rest of the world will support them and respect them, praise them, will be a part of nature.
Is it the same thing as truth will sprout from the earth?
The same idea,
The
yeah.
nations will see the truth of the Jewish people?
The same idea, yeah. Yeah.
The-
For
the-
Zion, go ahead.
The word tzedakah here, I mean, we see it over and over again. It's usually righteousness in
Yeah.
most of the translations.
You're right.
When does it become charity?
Depends on the context.
It's all context.
Yeah, it's all context.
Mhm.
It's more usually righteousness than charity. But it goes together. In Judaism, charity is righteousness. It's the right thing to do.
It's a form of righteousness.
Yeah, what I mean to say, it's not, in English, charity, I'm charitable. I'm extra, I'm going the extra mile. In Judaism, charity is the expected thing. It's the right thing to do. It's an obligation. It's a whole different approach to charity in Judaism than the rest of the way the world looks at it. The way they go, oh, what a charitable person. In Judaism, it's paying taxes. It's an obligation. It's not I'm doing a favor. More charity is the more you give it. But the concept is righteous. That's why it's the same word. Right. Tzedek, right. For Zion,
For Zion's sake, I will not be silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not be still, until her righteousness emerges like shining light, and her salvation like a burning torch.
this line became a very famous line by many people who fight for Jerusalem. For Zion, I will not be silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not be still. I will not be quiet. I will fight for Jerusalem, do everything. Why is he using the two expressions, Zion and Jerusalem? Many places in the Bible, in the prophet especially Isaiah.
Well, they're in the diaspora, because of the
But
diaspora.
Zion and Jerusalem.
Is one spiritual, the other one physical?
What does this mean? Spiritual and physical. Obviously, it's not just a way to, just like for the poetry, he's calling it Zion and Jerusalem. What Zion means? Zion means Tziyun. You know what a Tziyun means?
Marker?
A mark. A mark. I'm putting here a mark that something is here. That's why also a gravestone is called a mark. Zionism comes the word Zion. That's called Zionism. Jerusalem, what's the word Jerusalem means in Hebrew? Ira Shalem. Complete fear of God. It's true, it's a whole thing, remember? Ira and Shalem. Shalem is it's in the Bible, it's called by the time of Avimelech. Who was it? No.
The four kings.
Huh?
The four kings and the four.
No, not the four. Yeah, no, but
King
what,
of Salam,
what is his name?
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek, thank you. Melchizedek, the king of Shalem. He was the king of Jerusalem. Later, Abraham, when he offered Isaac a sacrifice, he called it Ira. Ira, Shalem is Yerushalayim. Two names. What does this mean? Complete fear of God. That Zion is more the lower level of Jerusalem, the physical Jerusalem, if you want. The most this in this world. The spiritual type of Jerusalem is Ira Shalem. Then you start Zion, and the next level, you start just as a sign to God. I'm representing God, but I'm not there yet. And the higher level is that I'm engulfed in a complete fear of God, means complete awe of God. I'm going to the higher level. Then in the Talmud it's written there is Yerushalayim shel Mata and Yerushalayim shel Mala. Jerusalem, the physical Jerusalem, and there is a spiritual Jerusalem. And until God doesn't come to the Jerusalem here, he doesn't go to the Jerusalem there, that's in the above. It means to say there is the spiritual side and the physical side. And they're reflecting in each other. Then when there is a higher level of Jerusalem in the physical Jerusalem, there is a higher level of spiritual Jerusalem. Now, for example, we have the physical Jerusalem. Do we really have the spiritual Jerusalem? It's one thing you're coming to a house, but you really have the relationship. What is going back to Jerusalem mean? You see, the example is about a man who got divorced from his wife, like the Jewish people from God. And it was one day was a snowstorm, and she was in the middle of the road. She was in the street. She didn't want to go home. She knocks on the door. She says, "Please let me in. I'm freezing. It's raining. It's a terrible snowstorm." And that's her in. It's his ex-wife. It's a human being. Forget about his ex-wife. Lets her in. She gets warm herself up. She gets into the kitchen. She makes herself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. Makes herself comfortable, sitting in the living room. She's watching TV. Then she wants late at night. She wants to go to sleep. Want to go into the bedroom. He told her, "I let you in. We're not remarried yet." The Jewish people were exiled. He was separated from our husband, from God. Went to exile. Then it was a terrible snowstorm. It's called the Holocaust. Then the Jewish people knocked on the doors, said, let me in. God opened the doors. He let them in. Give them a land, living. They're comfortable. They're making themselves a cup of tea, watching TV. You know what the bedroom between God and the Jewish people is? The Holy of Holies. It's called in the Bible the bedroom. Chadar HaMitos. Where is the unity between God and the Jewish people. It's between the two cherubs, right? Mm-hmm. The Ark of the Covenant is. God says, we are not yet remarried. Everything is good, yeah, you're in my house. But we don't have this, the relationship is missing. Then we are in Israel, we have Jerusalem, we have Zion, but we don't have yet Jerusalem. That's what he's saying here, Zion and Jerusalem.
So is there a divorce and a remarriage, or is there just a separation?
No divorce. We just remarry. God actually, in one of the Haftorahs, he said, God says, where is the
bill of divorce?
Where is the bill of divorce? I ever divorced you? No, thank God in our modern world there is a concept of separated. In the olden days, there didn't have separation. You might get married, you get divorced. In the modern world, there is, we are separated. Thank God for separation. If not, you would understand our relationship with God. You're not divorced. God says, I never give you you have a divorce bill? Never give you a divorce bill. We are separated. No! There's you for we are already back. We're already back in the house. We're already...
Can never be divorced.
It's much better already. It's almost there. We're almost there. Moshe is coming. Then we'll be all back.
So it's not a new wedding technically, it's a reaffirmation of the...
Reaffirmation, but really it will be as exciting as new. Like a fresh new beginning. Number 2. Nations will see. Go ahead.
Nations will see the righteousness which I will do for you, and all the kings your glory. You will be called a new name pronounced by the mouth of Hashem.
A new name means like you're a new person. That's the idea.
Right, like Abraham and Jacob became Avram to Abraham, right?
That's
Jacob and Israel.
Yes.
New name, new destiny.
New destiny, new identity. Yes, yes. Very, very good. Yes. Mentioning this, it's not in it's the continuation of this Haftorah in the next, the chapter that we don't say it actually. There is written there, we call Isaac. It's written about, there's an interesting medrash. Then God comes to Abraham and he tells him, your children have sinned. He said, then punish them. Let them die. Comes to Jacob, says, your children have sinned. He said, then punish them. Comes to Isaac, he says, children have sinned. Your children have sinned. Then Isaac tells God, my children? They're not your children? Don't you recall? In Egypt you call them my children? Oh, when they are good, they are your children? When they are bad, they are my children? And God accepts this argument. You know, in couples every time, when the child doesn't behave, the wife tells the husband, it's your child, it just behaves just like you. When he's a good boy, oh, it's my child, he's just like me. All this bad behavior, he learned it just from his father. Look at his behavior.
Well, Moses was told by God to go down. He said, you get
Your children. Then that Moses also argued the same argument. But that's why it's written about Isaac. He will be called, it's written Avraham Avinu, Avraham our father, Jacob our father. We don't say Yitzchak Avinu. There is no, when Moshiach will come, we'll call Isaac our father, because he will, when Moshiach will come, he will be the star. More than Isaac, more than Abraham and Jacob. Number 3.
You will be protected like a crown of beauty on God's hand, a royal coronet in the palm of your God. You will no longer be called abandoned by God, and your land will no longer be called desolation. Rather, you will be called I desire her, and your land inhabited. For God will deserve you, and your land will be
Inhabited.
Okay, let's stop right here.
inhabited.
It's, for God will desire you. God will miss you, will want you. You will not be like wife who was abandoned. Not at all. You'll be desired. And he gives in number 5, he says exactly how it is going to be. Yeah, number 5.
As a young man marries a maiden and settles with her, so will your children settle you, and your God will rejoice over you as a bridegroom rejoices over his bride.
This is the line that is important. That's what I was speaking. Just like it will be not like an abandoned woman that comes back, will be like a new marriage, like a young bride and groom who are excited about each other. Like the groom is excited about the bride. Now he goes back to speak about Jerusalem, number 6.
Over your walls, Jerusalem, I have appointed the stones as watchmen. They will never be silent from crying and mourning, day or night. Do not be silent, you stones who speak of God. Do not let him be idle and free from complaint until he restores Jerusalem and establishes it in glory amid the earth.
You know what's written here? First of all, they're not surprised the Jewish people are complaining constantly. The Torah says you should constantly complain, right? What he says here is something very important. He says, do not let God be free of complaints until he redeems Jerusalem, until he restores Jerusalem. Al titni domiloi. Do not let them rest. Ad yekonen, until he will restore. V'ad yasim et Yerushalayim, until he will put Jerusalem as a praiseworthy, is the most important thing in the land. As the glory amid all, the earth, right? There is a big argument. How much should you nudge God? He should bring Mashiach. On one end it's written, don't push it. Never God wants to bring Mashiach, bring Mashiach. The Rebbe said, pushing it is doing things to force God to bring Mashiach is one thing. But asking God for the Mashiach is an obligation. And he quoted a few times this line.
That's the idea behind Mashiach now? Or?
Yes. The Rebbe says, do and beg and ask and do mitzvahs for it. The Rebbe put Mashiach from a concept to a reality. Understand? He took something that was 2,000 years old in the books, and he makes it into a real thing that Mashiach is going to come. By the Rebbe Moshiach, he told once the president Shazar, he was the president of Israel. He told him, as much as I know, you see on the clock, he says, as much as you know that in an hour it will be 4 o'clock, that's how I'm sure that Mashiach is coming. Then many rabbis said, oh, you're not allowed to push God. Who are you? God will decide whenever he wants. To bring, he will bring him. The Rebbe quoted these lines. Al titnu domilo. Do not let him read. Do not give him rest. Go and beg and ask for Mashiach to come.
How about the other view, in the Talmud or in Medrash, I forget which one it is, but where the guy's planting the tree and somebody tells him, oh, the Messiah is coming. He says, well, finish planting your tree and then go greet the Messiah.
It doesn't finish planting the tree.
The carob tree?
Yeah, it's not the carob tree, but
It's a tree for 70 years? That's what you're talking about?
I don't think it's 70 years, but I mean, the idea is...
What's the idea?
The idea is, don't hold your breath, do what you need to do first, and then...
I don't know exactly what the story is, but no question that we have to, on one end, we have to continue to make plans. It's not only the tree. There is a story about the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. He was one Shabbos by the Farbrengen, speaking very strong that Moshiach is coming very soon. And Sunday, one of his Hasidim walked in, and he started talking to him about the plans for a yeshiva in Massachusetts or somewhere. He says, Rebbe, Mashiach is coming. What's the plan? What's the point to start to make plans for a yeshiva? The Rebbe smiled and told them like this. Told them when the Jewish people were in the desert, the cloud of glory, they know when they're staying in one place, when they're moving. The cloud of glory is moving, they're moving. When the cloud of glory lands in, and they know this is the place, is to establish the whole sanctuary, the temple and the homes, everything. Even that in a half hour, the cloud of glory has to move. He told them, wherever the Jews go, they're going by the word of God, with the cloud of glory. They have to settle and to build a temple and a sanctuary and homes and everything. Moshiach will come, will have to move, will move. But as long as we are here, we have to plan. Then these two things are not a contradiction. As long as I'm here, I have to have everything here. Now when the Hasidic Jews came to Poking was the DP camps. After World War II, America set up DP camps, dispersed people camp. All the Jews were there, basically. Then all the Jews were sitting in the suitcases. They were sure they're getting visas to America in a half hour. We are going. No, they got money from the governments from the joint to have food. They need to work, basically. There was no jobs anyway. They were in a camp. But everybody was sitting and waiting. He arrived a group from Chabad Hasidim from Russia. I escaped a whole story. They came in. This next day, they went to the guys who run the camp and said, we want 2 houses, one for a shul and one for a school. And they gave it to them. The next day, they established a shul and a school. They said, as long as we are here, now our kids have to learn Torah. Now we have to daven. We'll go. Guess what? People were there for 8 years. Some people were 10 years. Nobody was going anywhere so fast. Because nobody wanted the Jews, that's the truth. Then what I mean to say is, then wherever you go, that this is not a contradiction to asking for Moshiach. Understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Speaking is Moshiach, the idea of Moshiach, is that synonymous in a sense with salvation?
Sure.
That's a form of salvation.
This is the salvation.
That is the salvation.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, when Moses in this Parshat, he's going to die, but he still makes a big point about life. Choose life. And there's not much in the Torah, according to Sachs, about death. There's very little said about death. Judaism means sanctity of life.
You're right.
Now, is there any, the idea of being preoccupied, let's say, with Moshiach, is there any contradiction there?
Not at all, just the opposite.
Okay.
Moshiach says that you are not thinking about dying, we're thinking about bringing Moshiach.
Right.
We don't want to die. We want to live forever. Moshiach is for people who want to live, not for people who die.
Right, okay.
Just the opposite. Moshiach is, there is a story
But life
about,
will be different, though.
That's a different story, a more meaningful life. What means to be different?
Right.
There's a Hasidic story about a Hasidic rabbi came into a motel. He was in a room, and here was a clock there. Every hour it was ringing. He calls the owner and he asks him, tell me, who gave you this clock? Try to remember. He told him, it was here a righteous Hasidic rabbi who did not have money to pay me for the motel room, but he gave me the clock. He said, why are you asking? So he said, every clock is a set sound. Another hour passed. An hour closer to that. He says, this clock has an exciting sound, because the rabbi who lived by it says he got excited every time it's an hour closer to Mashiach. It's just the opposite. People who believe in Mashiach are excited people, are happy people. The rabbi his main theme was joy and happiness. Because we're getting closer to Mashiach. It's exciting. You wake up every morning and you're waiting for Mashiach to come. Who is thinking about that? Who has time to think about that? No, by the Rebbe, that was a non-issue. The Rebbe never spoke about or anything said was not on his table. He barely spoke about the Holocaust. What's the Holocaust? It depresses you. That's when your happiness, joy. It's all about looking forward. Mashiach is the ultimate life. The ultimate life, living forever. That's what Moshiach is all about, not dying.
It's utopia here.
That's the goal, here, not going anywhere.
And that's the idea behind resurrection of the dead, as heaven is on earth, so to speak, as opposed to...
Yeah,
Greek.
Judaism believes in resurrection. Even the dead will come back alive. We're not telling, they will have life after that. No, that's not good enough for us. We want them back here. It's the ultimate life. Sure.
But they have that Pirkei Avot that says 1 hour here is better than there.
I
and
know
that is-
everything. Number 8. We cannot, you need to understand.
That's okay. That's all right.
You cannot put, not everything has to, it will take another hour to explain this and this. Therefore, it doesn't make a difference. Number 8.
God has sworn by his right hand and his mighty arm, I will never again give your grain as food to your enemies, or let foreigners drink the wine for which you labored. Rather, those who harvest the grain will eat it and praise God in thanks, and those who gather the grapes will drink wine in their homes in my holy courts of Jerusalem.
Number 10. Go ahead.
Go through the gates, you nations, go through the gates of your cities in order to raise and smooth the road for the people. Clear away stones that obstruct the way, raise a banner for the nations, telling them to bring the Jewish people home.
Basically, pave the ways to Jerusalem, because everybody's going to come back. Clean it up. No stumbling stones, no krächzing, no questions, no nothing. You're going to Jerusalem. Number 11.
Look, God has proclaimed to the ends of the earth, say to the daughter of Zion, your salvation is coming. Look, his reward which is due to the Jewish people is with him, and his wages which he owes to the Jewish people are ready before him. They will be called a holy people, God's redeemed. You, Zion, will be called sought after, a city not forsaken.
Geulei Hashem, we call God redeemed. Redeemed by God. This is the ultimate life. Mashiach is the ultimate life. That's why you're right, in Judaism, we don't talk about that. That is not a nation. That is a necessity.
Every time we talk about death, it's we got to be purified from it, right?
You're right. Even the whole idea of Isker and Kaddish, this is things that came later. In the original, in the Torah, it's very little about it. It's an interesting point that Rabbi Sachs is making. Yeah. V'chai bohem, it's all about life.
Even Mark Twain said that we're not mortal.
We're not mortal, so
We're immortal.
We as a people are immortal.
as a people, you're right. That's why we say it's written. We say in the book of Deuteronomy, "Vatem adveikim." If we are cleave to God, we are living forever. In Judaism, a tzaddik is always alive, and wicked are dead even when they run around in the streets. Life and death is not measured by the pulse. Life and death is measured by doing your mission. As I heard somebody said the other day, you need to have a mission and a vision. A vision and a mission. If you do the purpose, you have a purpose. God gives you a purpose and you do your purpose. But you're on the right path. If not, wasting your time. Then what's life? What's a tzaddik? A tzaddik is always alive. Tzaddikim b'moisom kruim chaim. A tzaddik, when he's dead, is also considered alive. The language that we use, I think it's from the prophet, the people who are, we call the dead people, we call them the people who live in the dirt. They're occupying the dirt, like citizens of the dirt, something like this. Shochnei Afar is like the inhabitant the dirt. But they have to wake up. They're not dead. They are sleeping. You have to wake them up. And that's the whole language is to wake up the dead. What means to wake up? Somebody who's sleeping, wake him up. Nobody's dead.
Ecclesiastes, right? So those who sleep in the dead shall, or maybe it's Daniel. Those who sleep in the dead
should
wake
up and rise and dance and run and exactly that's the verse that I was talking about. Yes, I think it's in
Daniel 12:2. That's the resurrection.
Do I need a computer?
I know a few verses. That's the resurrection.
Very good. Thank God for them. We lost it. Okay, we are what? We are chapter 63. This Haftorah starts with the end of chapter 61, goes through the whole chapter 62 and the beginning of chapter 63. Not beginning, but half of the chapter. Go ahead.
When God wreaks vengeance on Edom, people will say, "Who is this coming from Edom, from Batsra, with a blood-stained clothing?"
Who is Edom?
Esau.
Well,
Esau.
Rome, according to
Esau.
some.
Right.
Rome.
Right.
Where is Edom?
Where is it?
Historically,
Yeah.
northwest Saudi Arabia, basically, and Jordan, southern Jordan.
Petra.
Jordan.
Petra is Edom. Maybe more.
Petra.
And Jordan.
All the
Southern
Jews
Jordan.
come to Israel and
Is
they
it
run to Petra.
I was just there.
When you lost in Petra.
About $700.
How did you lose that money?
That's what it cost me to go there.
Exactly.
It's a waste of a day.
Literally.
It was.
You went to Iraq before?
We went to a lot, and then
And
we
then you
went
go
to
to
Petra.
Petra. How could you go a Jew without being in Petra? It's missing them. It's like there wasn't Yom Kippur in Shul. I mean, it wasn't in Petra. Petra is Edom. Now, Edom, in the prophets, there are a lot speaking about Edom in a negative way. Why? Because the Edomites, during the destruction, after the destruction, before the destruction of the first temple, and doing so, they sold the Jews as slaves, and they took advantage. And every time that the Jews suffered from a foreign enemy, they supported the foreign enemy to fight against Jews. Therefore, in the famous line in the book of Psalms, "Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini," if I forget Jerusalem or forget my right hand, then right there it's written, "Schor Hashem livnei Edom." Remember God for the children of Edom, what they did to the Jewish people.
Right.
That they wanted to Amrim Oru Ad Ha'Yesod. Let's uproot it completely.
Yeah, the last verse is pretty strong too.
What is the last verse?
I think that Hashem will, for the infants and the
Yeah. Then here he's talking about God coming from Edom, after destroying Edom, is taking revenge, so to speak, before he redeems the Jewish people. Now, anybody who wants to join the Jewish people and support them is more than welcome. But if you don't want, you're going to be in trouble. That's what he's really talking about. It doesn't have to be, destroying Edom doesn't have to be done in a bad way. Destroying what Edom represents, that's the idea. Go ahead, continue, I'm sorry. Who is coming from Edom?
This one who used to be dressed majestically and ordered people from place to place with his great power, says God, "It is I who say and fulfill my promises of justice for the Jewish people, and I, who I am, mighty to save."
Then God says, I am coming from Edom. I am the one who has the power to destroy Edom. That's what he says here. Then is God, like the Jewish people are asking God. People will say, number 2,
People will say, "What is your clothing red,
why is your clothing red?
and your garments like those of one who treads in a winepress?"
Now, wine press, you're coming out like you did, like just spread. God's clothing are, so to speak, red completely. From that he says, you look like a guy who came out from a wine press, with the red. Grapes. It's all stained. And God is answering. Says God, number 3.
I trod the wine presses of blood in my righteousness alone, not in the merit of the Jewish people. Not one person from the nations was able to stand against me. I trodden them in my anger and trampled them in my rage. The blood of their strength splashed on my garments and stained all my clothing.
God says, all my clothing is stained because I went to take revenge on Edom. But there is more than that. Okay, let's continue number 4.
For I have been planning a day of vengeance against the nation for a long time, and the year of redemption for my people has now come.
The year of redemption. A day of revenge, but a year of redemption. You realize that?
Yeah.
Only one day of the revenge and a year of redemption. The redemption takes much more time and much more emphasis than the revenge. And why he did it himself? Number 5. I looked
around for a merit with which the Jewish people might be redeemed, but there was no merit to help. I was amazed that there was no merit to be of help in redeeming them. So my arm wrought their salvation for me, and not their own merit. And my anger against the nations supported me in wreaking vengeance upon them.
Okay, but if we take this verse without the parentheses, he says, I turned around, I looked around, and nobody was there to help me. And I had to do it myself. And therefore, so to speak, I got stained, because nobody else did it. This can also be meaning, sometimes we are too holy. We don't want to do things, it's not my place. Sometimes you have to get a little dirty to help out another Jew, to bring you closer to God. Even if you lose a little bit of your spirituality. What should I tell you? In our world, for example, comes Rosh Hashanah, the place is full, packed. Should I give my seat to somebody else and I will pray a little less concentrating? Or I should pray? These dilemmas are constantly in every part of our life. Then the answer is, sometimes you have to get a little dirty to redeem others, to bring back others. That's another meaning of this verse. Number 6.
I trampled peoples in my wrath and made them drunk with the cup of my rage. I cast the blood of their strength down to the ground. The prophet says, Israel will relate God's kind deeds and his praise for everything he has done for us, all the good he has granted to the house of Israel in his mercy and great kindness. When God took them out of Egypt, he said, Indeed, they alone are my people, children who were not unfaithful and did not forsake me. And he became their Savior. All their sufferings caused him pain, and the angel who stands before him saved them. Likewise, out of his love and mercy, he redeemed them. He will bear them and carry them forever.
Wow. Now the number 9, in Hebrew it's like this. It translates in English, all your suffering caused him pain. Caused God pain, right? What does this mean? First of all, in the text, there is, in the Bible, Kri and Ksiv. There is the way things are written, and then the way things we are pronounced, how we say it. The word lo, bechol tzaratam lo tzar lo in regular Hebrew. If it's a lamed and a aleph, what does this mean? Lo. No. Lamed vav lo to him. Very good. Finally, somebody. The difference is huge. If this suffering causes him pain or doesn't cause him pain. If their suffering is not affecting him or their suffering is affecting him. The way it's written, it's with aleph. No. The way we read it, it's with a vav. And this is a connection to the Parsha of this week. And the Parsha of this week, we'll go for a minute of the Parsha of this week if you don't mind. Parshat Nitzavim, page 1321. The last line on 1321, number 3. Then it says, God, your God, will return you captives from exile. Page 1321, number 3. God will return, at the last line in the text, God will return your exiles. Means we're in exile, and Moses is promising us that one day God will bring us back. But the way it's written in the Bible is very interesting. It's not written, the way it should be written, God will return, I'm outside, and I will return you from exile, bring you back from exiles. It's not written like this, ve'eshiv. It's written, ve'shov. God will return with you from exile. Rashi says that, if you look at the Rashi, there's an English Rashi, Rashi says that he had to write ve'eshiv. There is no translation in this text, in this Chumash, but he says it had to be written, he will bring them back from exile. It's not written. It's written, he will come back from exile. What does this mean? God is going to exile with the Jewish people. He's not sending us to exile. He's going to exile. That's what he said in the Haftorah. Our suffering is his suffering. And there is There is another verse, Imo yonechi betzoro. I am with him, where is this written? I am with him in his suffering. In the book of Psalms. What's why God revealed himself to Moses in the burning bush? God revealed himself to Isaiah in his mind. What do you need a bush? God talked to Moses a million times. It was never a bush. Well, why need a burning bush? One of the explanations is that God wanted to show Moses that I suffer together with them. It's burning and burning and never, and I suffer together with them. That's why burning bush.
It's not consumed.
Then it's the same idea. The Parshat and the Haftorah. God is going with it's not like we are sitting in exile, we are sitting in God forbid you Jews were sitting in the middle of the concentration camps and God forgot about them. God is with them suffering. And when they come back, even He's coming back with them. Understand? Wherever they go, He's going with them. Where is God? Where there is Jews. He's never abandoning His children. That's the end of the Haftorah.
Ezekiel's chariot, when he gets the mobile chariot, it's off with the Jews to exile. Right?
You're right, the same idea. Yes.
Thank you, Rabbi.